What's up? Click to invite participants. No, no, no. Um, so this. Uh-huh. That's done. And this is gonna go up there. Something like that. I don't know what to put on there. I don't know what to put. I don't know what kind of put. Uber confessions. I don't know. I think we can be more creative than that. Maybe just spill your guts. Ah. See, Eden crafted whatchamacallit for me. Homemade incense. Holder. I guess I should invite Steven on now. He's probably waiting. He's probably waiting at another Starbucks across the way. He's probably all embarrassed because he chopped his beard off, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully not too much. So bear with me as I attempt to invite Steven. I'm actually probably going to do installment number 4 of his book today. Seeing that I do it on Thursdays. Today's Thursday, right? Let's try and find Steven. Copy URL. And there he is. See how he just pops up all about... I say one word about him and he just pops up. Okay. I have a method to do this. That method is called... Don't look at all my mails. Okay. This is private stuff. Very private. Okie dokie. Message has been sent. Now, yes. Now I send that over to Steven via Facebook. I don't know what we would do without copy paste. No clue. Hopefully he actually has Zoom. See? I just send him this link. He clicks it, and then he appears on for us. Very simple. Hopefully he has Zoom downloaded. If not, he'll have to download it while we wait. I don't mind waiting though. Pretty good at that. Plus we have incense. We have incense and Tibetan singing bowls. I don't know what else you would need. What else could you need besides incense and singing bowls? Focus screen. There you go. Smells good in here. It smells like good things. Whew.
What's up, dude?
What's up, buddy?
Not much. I couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi, so I have basic data going, but I have unlimited, so it doesn't really matter. But if that explains a bad connection later on, just be foretold.
Basic data works.
So what's up, man?
Just chilling. You know.
This is the first one of these things I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, you're divergenizing me, man.
Are you trembling inside?
I'm somewhat.
Yeah?
There's something about light a cigarette.
You can light a cigarette if you want.
Of course.
I lit
Secondhand doesn't go over the internet.
Yeah. I lit incense in here. No cigarettes though.
Well, what was the incense brand that you prefer? Was it Narchapo too?
I don't even know what this is. This is...
I can't see. It's too dark.
The Mac is supposed to get... I can't see the label, but it's just a generic incense.
Man, you remind me so much of my best friend in high school. You look a lot like him, and he always burned incense in his car. I thought it was really cool how he did that. And then whenever I got a car, I did the same thing, and I've done it ever since I was like first driving.
Yeah, I don't know if I should...
I always got pulled over whenever I was straight edge for like smoking weed or some shit because I always had so much smoke in the car from the incense.
Yeah,
I live in a very conservative area. I'm sure you don't get that very much in California.
Well, I haven't had passengers since I installed this, so. But they're gonna come in and smell the incense, and I'm sure they'll ask questions about it.
Oh yeah, totally. I thought that was like your full-time job.
It is.
Well, you've been lighting incense for a couple of days now, at least, right?
Yeah, but I'm not working.
How? Oh, you're just not working right now.
Like the Monday through Wednesday part of Thursday, that's my off time. Otherwise, I'm always driving.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool how you were the only other person I ever see in their car. Like, oh, the bucket died.
Yeah, I live in here. I think it's like an extension of my arm or something.
Yeah.
I and my car are one, you know. Now I am. Not
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, but you have a pretty hard to navigate streets, I think. Well, no, you're not San Francisco. You're San Diego, right?
No, I'm in San Francisco when I'm working.
Okay, so you're going up and down this like crazy ass Full House beginning,
Yeah.
like intro scenes where like they're hills, they're like not like straight up like this.
Yep. Yep.
Really, dude, that shit would freak me out. I don't see how any kids learn how to ride a bike or a skateboard or anything. This shit is so intimidating. It's ridiculous.
You don't want to go down those on a skateboard if you're not really good at skateboarding. These guys
Like,
will.
how do you keep your cars? I mean, even emergency brakes, it seems like your cars would slide down. I mean,
No.
that seems like steeper than shit, dude.
No.
Like some of the angles, like
They're not that steep, and they have. We don't ever get like ice or snow. If San Francisco got ice or snow, then the whole town would be fucked, and everything would just like slide into everything else.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. I can only imagine.
But we don't.
Just wait, my friend. It will happen.
Yeah, yeah.
The day will come.
Just like
Penguins were once tropical birds.
right. Just one day of like very light snow would destroy San Francisco. Just in one day.
Completely shut it down. So, have you been paying attention to all this 4chan shit?
Nope.
The whole anonymous Q clearance dude.
Well, I heard something about something. About I don't remember what it was though. I remember hearing something about anonymous, but I forget the topic. You have to refresh my memory.
Yeah. 4chan is kind of cool. I hadn't researched it until a couple weeks ago, but they have a lot of interesting code words, just like the pedo gay guys do, and they have done so many fucking awesome things. Like the whole Shia LaBeouf thing. Are you familiar with that? Like he put up a flat, like a museum piece that said he will not divide us after Trump got elected. So these guys from 4chan who are like role playing as white supremacists kept taunting him since he's so politically correct and liberal, and going over to him and like it was a live video feed 24/7 over the internet. These people invaded it constantly and would say the most racist, horrible shit, and just like
they went to LaBeouf.
Yeah. His museum he set up outside as a memorial to how Trump will not divide the American population.
And he was there the whole 24 hours.
He was there like a good percentage of the time, probably only like 8 hours a day, but they shut that shit down after 5 days because people just like totally just mocked the fuck out of it. Like with their whole 4chan meme thing. But then he moved his memorial to basically just a flag that said he will not divide us. In an open field. No, like you couldn't see any landmarks. It was just sky and flag. And these guys on 4chan, like hackers and just geniuses, figured out exactly where it was by when the sun set and then triangulating its position based on the stars. And the airplanes flying across the contrails and like comparing that to a live action air map of all the air traffic in the United States.
Oh yeah.
It took less than 38 hours to find a flag with no setting whatsoever. And then we went around with a flashlight trying to find it and like seeing the flag. Oh no, hearing a horn honk. A guy drove around the estimated area and had a live microphone on it, so they were listening for his horn honk on the live feed to like direct him where to go. Tried that shit down in 38 hours, dude. And then he ended up putting it in a museum in England.
The 4chan guy,
like,
the 4chan guys
floor.
didn't want him doing his deal. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, they just like mocked the hell out of him because he was so serious. Like anybody who is really easily offended, these trolls like completely latch onto and like humiliate because it gets such a reaction out of them. They think it's hilarious.
Well,
so they say things like Hitler did nothing wrong. Is one of their big they had a contest on the internet to name the new flavor of Mountain Dew, and 4chan controlled the top 3 entries. It was Diabetes Cola. One was I think one was Liquid Nugget, and the one that came in first place was Hitler did nothing wrong, Mountain Dew. Well, they do it just to piss people off and get a reaction out of them. So this guy was so easy to like manipulate emotionally. They just kept fucking with him over and over again.
The last
just for fun.
the last stunt I remember him doing was when he went and sat in that room and basically said he was sorry and then had a bag over his head.
Yeah, that's why they made fun of him. I mean, they're doing some pretty crazy shit. But this guy started getting on 4chan within the last 2 weeks. He apparently is a Trump mouthpiece, kind of, and he's been basically calling all the shots, saying what was going to happen in the sense. He talked about Tony Podesta getting indicted. He talked about um, what's his name? That dude that just came out, Corey Feldman, who just came out with all the pedophilia allegations towards people like Charlie Sheen and all, and he called all these arrests before they happened. So I'm pretty sure he's like has Q clearance at least. And one of the things that they said, I actually like screen grabbed it and put it on my channel. It was like 6 minutes long, but dude, it tripped me out because it said something about going down the wormhole instead of the rabbit hole, which like is an allusion towards time travel or dimensional gateways, apertures, stargates. And then the next question that he asked, like maybe a sentence later, was, "How has Trump succeeded in doing this far or going this far this fast?" And the answer was Alice in Wonderland. And I was like, "What? Talking about wormholes right next to Alice in Wonderland?"
This is the guy.
And if you remember, there's several videos of Trump's eyes turning black.
The 4chan guy
during the election. Yeah, the 4chan guy. His name is Q for Q clearance. I suppose.
Just the letter Q or like QUE?
No, like the letter Q.
Okay.
Just like the Star Trek character.
Okay. You said Trump's eyes were turning black?
Huh?
You say Trump's eyes were turning black?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just camera angles and shit, but you know how Hillary Clinton supporters are, they'll latch on. I mean, same thing with Trump supporters. People are so fucking focused on these two different candidates. It's so fucking stupid. Like they have any fucking control over anything at all. They're just like something to show us as theater to make us think that we have a fucking choice in our lives as far as the direction of the country or wars or
the two-party system. Yeah, it's very diverse.
yeah, that's what they do. They give you like 32 flavors of fucking ice cream, but only 2 decisions whenever something important, like you're fucking president.
Yeah.
And they distract you with all these fucking choices that don't mean a shit, and then don't let anybody but their 2 handpicked, their 2 selectees in there. I mean, look at Ron Paul and Bernie Sanders. That should be a clear indication to anybody that like a groundswell of real support behind someone who's moderate and rational gets shut down by like the mainstream political party candidates like nobody's business. I mean, Barack Obama was that Bilderberg group well before he was ever elected for president first time.
Yeah, the funny I just think it's funny how there's like so much dirt on all the politicians that there's not even a debate. Like it's the whole thing is a game show. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see how anybody.
It's a popularity contest.
Unless you're sleeping so heavily that like your own snores are keeping you, pacified somehow. I don't understand how anybody can take it seriously anymore.
People still wear the say I voted, especially young liberals. Like all my friends that I have recently parted ways with because I've become so crazy and they've become so boring. They like touted like watching CNN.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, they've been caught like dozens of times, completely like fabricating like live action news, like being on the top of a building in Atlanta and saying they're in Baghdad, or like faking a protest of Islamic women, like in downtown New York, and gathering everybody together in little tight groups and taking a picture, making it like a fucking huge demonstration.
Yeah.
It's stupid, man. And fucking crisis actors and
you there? You're back? Can you hear me? Can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. You're gonna have to write all your stuff down and hold up pieces of paper. Or just enunciate really clearly so everybody can read your lips. He's coming back. I think that's what he said. Hello? Who's there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Are you doing
Alright,
a
cool.
Verizon commercial?
Yes, because I'm that old. I love referencing shit people don't remember anymore, like the Macarena.
That was a long time ago.
Chumbawamba.
Huh? Yeah.
Do you remember Tamagotchis?
No. I won't things because I didn't have any TV growing up.
No, those little tiny things you wore, like keychains that were little Japanese creatures that you raised and fed and shit that everyone had in 6th grade.
Tamagotchis?
Tamagotchis or Digimon.
I remember Digimon.
All right, good.
I was also homeschooled though for my first like 8 years, so I didn't know anything about it.
Oh shit!
I still.
No wonder you're so weird.
Still don't. But...
And intelligent.
Yeah, it somehow fosters an unusual amount of intelligence. I don't know how.
Are you kidding me? Have you not seen the state of our public education? Like, they fucking like make you get vaccinated, like, and then feed you this fucking processed shit that's probably chock full of saltpeter and fucking mercury, and I mean, yeah. And then put you in this socialized training camp where you really don't learn anything but how to be a obedient citizen and stand in a line for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And have to fucking raise your hand to go to the bathroom. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
And
like, really?
You have to hold on to the little whatever they hand you. Don't
like
don't
a fucking roller attached to a key ring or some shit.
Yeah. It's like a permit.
Fucking an abacus.
Abacus, yeah.
Something that's just ridiculously huge and not appropriate for a bathroom in the first place.
No, if math classes were actually creative, they would have a bunch of abacuses in there and have the kids be playing with them all day, you know?
Whatever. They was use like a fucking doctor's office, like the fucking slow kids that push around the fucking blocks down the different colored tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what it turned into.
Yeah.
But so the first 8 years, so you were in what grade? How old are you what grade are you in at 8? Well, I guess you were 5 to 13.
Yeah, I essentially went into 8th grade because all of my siblings were transitioning into the public school system, and then I was the only one left home when I was in like the latter few months of 8th grade. So I didn't want to be there by myself, so I was like, well, just put me there too.
So your first experience with any kind of socialized school setting was high school?
No, it was 8th grade. It was the last 3 months of 8th grade.
Oh shit! And so then you jumped right from 3 months of junior high into high school?
Yes.
God damn, dude, that's a hell of a transition, man.
The whole thing was horrifying, actually.
Did you do any kind of extracurricular activities or anything that acclimated you to socialization?
I did a little bit. I did like running. I did track and cross country the first 3 years, and then my last year, or the last 2 years actually, I did volleyball, and then for some reason.
What?
No, for some reason, all the jocks, like all the football guys and basketball guys, they got this idea that volleyball was cool for some reason. So they all
California.
They all started playing volleyball when I was playing volleyball. So then they all started like hanging around me, and I started like playing with them instead of just being quiet the whole time. So it was kind of a weird. I became oddly popular in the last couple years.
Yeah, me too. Without even fucking trying, like completely not trying.
It was definitely happenstance. Yeah.
I got my senior superlative that I wanted.
Your senior's what?
Superlative, you know, the things they give like best eyes or best dress or most likely to be successful, whatever.
You got one of those?
Yeah, I think most original or something akin to that.
Oh yeah.
Which I was like, haha, you think I'm original? I'm just a carbon copy of a goth kid from Europe. Dude, I had fucking... If you saw me my junior year or senior year, most of it, black lipstick, dyed black hair, shaved face, black fingernail polish, black fishnet stockings. Like, it was retarded. It was
Fishnet
absolutely.
stockings? Were you a gay goth kid?
I mean, aren't all goth kids kind of gay? Have you not seen the South Park episodes concerning this?
I don't know. I don't really know what to think of goth kids. Aside, I just know that they like dressing in black and listening to heavy metal all the time, and having
no, that's not a goth kid.
all
That's an
kinds
emo
of piercings. Kid. Is that emo?
I mean, goth is completely different than emo or metal.
Is goth like Marilyn
goth?
Manson type stuff?
No. It's stuff that's mostly not even in America. There's like Susie and the Banshees, one of the bands that you read the other day. The Cure.
Oh, yeah.
Joy Division, kind of.
Nope.
Joy Division? You don't know who Joy Division is? Jesus Christ, Gary. I have some education to do for you.
That's what
everybody's all the music you sent me is pretty rad, so you have good taste.
Everyone's telling me that I need lots of education in many areas.
Well, you were denied pop culture for years, so.
That's right.
So what are your parents Seventh-day Adventists or hippies?
I wish they were hippies. I wish they were Seventh-day Adventists too, or something else.
Oh God, what? Something worse than Seventh-day? So.
No. I wish they were those crazy black people churches where they just like sing and dance and get into shivering fits. They get struck with the Lord and they like fall over and shake around for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, those are awesome. Pentecostal churches are fucking great.
Yeah.
My mother was raised up in a Pentecostal church in North Carolina where they actually like were serpent handlers. Like the preacher would pull sticks out of a fucking like rattlesnakes, like banged. I will kill you, rattlesnakes. The guy had been like 100 times, never lost a finger or anything. It's fucking crazy weird, but just throw around these fucking snakes as part of their fucking service based off one line from a fucking book that has 66 parts. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like a carnival that just it calls itself a church, so it can fly under the radar.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of rad, actually. Especially whenever carny like it takes place outside with
with the big tent. It's got the
tablecloth. yeah, like the revivals, like hallelujah. Everyone's singing and clapping and stomping their feet.
Right.
Yeah, that shit's fucking scary. Like hide the books. Run, hide all the books.
Hide the books. Burn the books. No, my parents weren't. They weren't anything too crazy. They were. My dad's always been Catholic. My mom's pretty much always been Protestant, and then they decided that they were gonna go full Catholic.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So.
That's a hell of a step.
It's
for a Protestant woman.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
We're talking about going through catechism and the whole 9 yards.
We were put through catechism. I don't remember if I finished it or not. I think a lot of us didn't. But we were going there. My parents didn't take the ritual part and the dogma part as seriously. My mom didn't really push anything on us. My dad always tried to push his own personalized view of whatever God and religion is. He tried to push that on us, which we rejected along with all the other religious stuff that was flying around. But we were still like exposed to the environment.
My favorite part of church was arguing with people about shit. I loved that. I did that ever since I was a kid, dude.
Well, you don't find in the Catholic Church, at least the ones that I went to, there's not any room for that. Like, it's such a solemn atmosphere that you're just supposed to be quiet.
Yeah, it's fucking scripted for 2,000 years, bro. Latin script. This fucking dead language, and the script is so old that it's still written in it.
Yeah.
In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
I always thought it would be hilarious if someone just like started acting up in a Catholic service, though, just like, walked up there and started asking the priest questions and whatnot.
Dude, I've done that multiple times and not Catholic church. Well, yeah, one. You tell like 6 or 7 churches in Lubbock.
Yeah. Just
for doing exactly that. I think it's great. I love being able to get kicked out of church.
Did any of them respond, or were they all just like, "Oh my God, what's going on"?
There were pulled me into the pastor's office for a tiny non-denominational church, and he like talked to me for like 4 hours. It was a great conversation. We actually still talk by email.
Oh yeah.
He's yeah, but like he stopped service dead in the middle of it, like on Wednesday night, like halfway through it, like maybe another 45 minutes or so, and just left everyone there and didn't say anything. And just went in the office and talked with me for 4 hours.
What did you say? Like what?
And everyone was calmed.
What did you say to make him do
I
it?
was arguing about baptism with him and how I didn't think that it was necessary to have a water baptism to be baptized with the Holy Spirit, that it was a spiritual thing, and that you didn't to have anything besides a filling up of yourself with the Holy Spirit, and the water was just symbolic of the Spirit, and et cetera, et cetera. Because they were like, they baptized people on Wednesday nights at that church, like Baptist style. Like, so once you hit like an age of guilt or feeling, you like had to get a baptism. So it was like a submersion thing in a fucking tank.
Did you say age of guilt?
Like yeah, that's what they called it.
That's the most fucked up, obvious, like in your face.
Oh God, yeah, right, totally. I mean, they use things like fear and hatred and I mean negative emotions to drive humanity.
Shame is the biggest thing on the market for religions. It's shame. That's what the Catholic Church sells.
Dude, 100%.
They sell you the shame. They sell you the shame on one hand, and then on the other hand, they sell you absolution. But you have to keep doing it. You don't just get a one and done.
And you pay a lot of money back in the day and buy a bunch of indulgences. Then you can just buy your way straight into heaven.
That's why the Protestants kind of fucked up, because they told people, well, you just have to accept Jesus and then you're done, like you're good. But then you're like, why the fuck do I need to go to church anymore? You know?
Exactly.
So they have,
and they don't expect you to if you give them large enough amount of money. They don't give a shit if you're there or not. Just keep giving them fucking money. We just want your money here. You just bring money. That's why we want you here.
Right.
I mean, dude, you gotta think about all the old censer bearers, all the old incense they used to light in half opium.
Yeah.
So everyone got addicted to going to church. And
that makes
sense.
And
they couldn't read, so it's not like they can go home and entertain themselves. So they go, here's.
Look at this. You see it? You see my magic? Oh, I broke the internet with that magic. Sorry. Do you see it? I think your audio is off again. Too much magic. All right, we'll stop doing that. You're probably going to have to call back in again. Call back.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Alright, cool. Yeah, I mean, dude, I think these people couldn't read back then, man. So they were just like entertaining themselves the best way they knew how, going to hear stories about a magic dude while they were stoned out of their asses on opium. I mean, that sounds pretty good.
That sounds more fun than what it's devolved to nowadays.
I know, right? I guess we could still like get high and go watch Lord of the Rings or something, but it's not the same.
I mean, if I could actually if I could go to church and have fun and like be entertained, then I might even consider going. But it's not even that anymore. So.
Yeah, seriously, you should have a ball pit in the back. Right. You know, I just throw the kids in the ball pit, some slides, some good music. No preacher, fuck that shit. Just people talking. So basically, just a social gathering.
Right. And then don't call it a church.
Yeah.
Essentially, just let's hang out, people.
Yeah, it's called a party. We get fucked up at church, y'all.
Yeah.
Drinking fucking 40s out of that huge ass glass they bring around for communion.
Just like dye all the beer red and say you're drinking Jesus' blood.
Yeah, be really sacrilegious about it. Put on like fucking altar boy robes and shit. And fucking like act like you're playing the crucifix like a fucking guitar. Yeah. It could get. I don't see why we don't have like movies that are supposed to be comedies pushing the envelope more, because it's. I guess we do live in a very politically correct culture.
I don't know.
But
I feel like the hold that the churches have had, I feel like that's gone. It's either gone or it's going away right now. But everyone, like,
yeah,
the sleepers are still fucking asleep. That's the thing. So that's why when you look outside, you don't see anything interesting happening ever.
because they're complete. They're lulled. I mean, dude, whatever hold the church had on them is nothing to the hold their cell phones had on them.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
The church can never duplicate something that gives you pornography and music videos and allows you to order shit off of Amazon in 48 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Did you see that shit?
Once all the old people die, then the churches are gonna have to like put, Wi-Fi in the church, and they're gonna have to have outlets everywhere.
Free beer.
Yeah, just screens everywhere. Like the pastor can't even be there in person; he's just gonna have to come up on the screen.
No. Or they have to come up with some really brilliant form of brainwashing, or reintroduce the whole drugs thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I expect
dude, there's actually a couple of churches that are doing ayahuasca ceremonies now.
Like real churches?
Uh-huh.
I think Coke will probably make a full circle at some point and reintroduce actual cocaine into its ingredients.
Oh, dude, like they haven't already introduced something that's like more addictive than that. And
I expect at some
point you
point
don't get the same pop.
Yeah.
I expect you feel like shitty without it.
I think that's gonna start happening. I think because like if I don't know if you've started listening to Og or not. I know you said you're going to, but
I listened to about half of your conversation with him.
Okay.
He has a very he has a presence to him, dude, for sure. He's a very authoritative speaker too, and the way he talks is very, very lowly, like trancy magician.
Yeah. I'm sure his detractors could say that he's just here to fuck us over some more. I don't really care though, because I look at
what he said was dead on.
I always look at it from the show perspective. Like, life is a play. We're supposed to be making something happen here. We're not supposed to be fucking in shackles and chained up on a fucking wall forever. Like, okay, if we do that for a little while, realize what it feels like to be a dumbass prisoner, and then don't do that anymore. Like, make something interesting happen. So from that perspective, even if he is, playing, he's in the fucking project, so he's not just telling us everything anyway. He can't tell us everything.
Well, I mean, he could, but he'd probably get killed. Or a connection before anything got out.
Well, he said he said people would start committing suicide if they knew the full story.
You gotta give the people more credit than that. Most people, if it gets to the point where they'll start committing suicide, they'll choose not to believe it.
True.
I mean, they won't just go, "Oh my God, this outrageous bullshit was said. I killed myself." I mean, most people are like, "Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that sounds like a great plan."
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah, maybe that was just a bit of grandstanding.
And there'll be people like me and you who give it a second thought and a third thought and end up fucking, just living in that reality, even if it is suicide worthy. We won't kill her.
Yeah, right.
I mean, right? Could any truth at this point make you kill yourself, Gary?
I don't think so.
I mean, you could tell me the world was flat, even though I'm not a traditional sphere guy. But you could tell me something completely against my intuition and resonance, and I would be 100% certain you were right. And it could be the craziest, most evil shit or scary beyond belief, and it's not how I would kill myself. I kill myself just for the thematics of it, just because I'm a dramatic like that, but not because something fucking scares me.
Right.
I mean, that includes like reptilian people taking our babies and eating them, or huge clone factories, or the fact that we're living in a completely projected artificial world because our world was destroyed, or whatever, man. I can still smoke a cigarette and have sex. And I mean, if that's artificial, then bring on the artificiality.
Yeah.
I want more of that shit.
I've pretty thoroughly examined all of the freak possibilities of existence. I spent a long time going through lots of things and mentally and saying, okay, this is true, that's not true, this is true, that's not true. Like just the whole. Like, remember how I was telling you, Og got the flash fry download of all the people that he was going to be interacting with? I forgot what you called that.
Yeah.
But
download.
Yeah, I had that, but for like all the possibilities of the realm, essentially. Like I had that flash fry thing with all of the gruesome, the good, the bad, the ugly, the terrible, the offbeat, like every single thing you could think of. And then I had all those, and then now I don't give a shit at all because.
Yeah. I mean,
like, so what?
This world obviously still has a point to it, and it's obviously still beautiful in some respect. Yeah. You know, like even if you told me something was completely sinister, was right in a different dimension, just slightly out of phase with us, right there. I mean, the wind would still be blowing at the trees. You know, it would still be fucking sunny outside with bright blue sky. I mean,
no matter what fucking wormhole or rabbit hole you've fallen into, you're still there, and you gotta fucking deal with it. Like
exactly.
People like they get this idea that okay, if I escape this particular place, then the other place is gonna be better. Like that's the whole grass is greener thing. It's just not true. It's never better on the other side. If anything, you're more fucked up and more scared.
I mean, if there's a better place, it's the top of the fence, so you can see both sides.
Yeah.
You know, breaking of duality, dude. Balance and shit. Equilibrium.
Yep.
This world obviously is full of fucking evil and could be potentially. I mean, as crazy as I've laid out the whole idea with reptilians and blue extra-dimensional or fourth spatial dimensional beings that corrupt religions and make people worship false gods by manipulating their dogmas and shit. Like, I mean, it could be completely fucking off the wall, batshit nutso, and it still would be worth living.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell.
Unless you're one of the people who actually killed themselves, then it wasn't worth living. But
well, yeah, maybe their value systems might be a little bit warped.
True.
I mean, dude, I played EverQuest. Are you familiar with that game? It's a mass multiplayer online RPG, one of the first ones that was 3-dimensional.
Okay.
Actually, the first one that was 3-dimensional. So, basically, every nerd that I knew played that game. And there was this one guy in the expansion. There was this place called Lumnia. It was the moon.
Lumia?
And there was this, Lumnia.
Oh, Lumnia.
Okay. And there was a hole. Typically, if you died, you could go back to your body and get all your shit back, and you didn't really lose that much of your fucking progress because people played hundreds and hundreds of hours. Mm-hmm. But if you fell in this one particular crater, your body was gone, your character was dead. Like, groups, friends, items, literally like 500 hours of your life just flushed down the toilet in one accidental misclick.
Yeah.
This one dude, they found his body 2 weeks after his character fell in the hole. He was surrounded by Mountain Dew bottles and pizza boxes and had 2 computer screens set up with 2 different characters going at the same time with 3 phone lines because it's back in phone connection days.
Yeah, dial up.
And blew his brains out with a shotgun because his character died. So.
Wow.
That tells you something about how people's fucking concept of fucking reality can get suicidal real quick.
If you spend all of your waking hours in a video game, then that is your life.
If that is your reality, and your character's dead, then you're dead.
Yeah, there's no point. Yeah.
It shows you how adaptable the human brain is, because they start to live as that character.
I just made a video about that last night about how astounded
I always do that.
Yeah. How astounded I was by the adaptability of the humans, because that's why we got to the situation that we got, because instead of just fucking dying because of all the crazy shit, we were like, all right, fuck that. And I even said, I was like, just give this guy a cigarette and he'll be all right with it. And then you came and said the same thing, but we're really adaptable, and also on one hand really simple. Like you just need a few little things, and then the world can appear as crazy as it wants to, and you're like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, like there's a show Stranger Things on Netflix. Have you seen it?
I'm currently watching it.
The second season or the first?
I think I'm on 5 or 6 of the first one.
Well, in the second season,
right where she the little girl where 11.
11.
She did the thing on the train tracks and blew that little black kid 20 yards back.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, that he gets pissed.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool they named her 11L for Saturn.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat? But the second season, there's this little tiny creature that oh man, what's the character's name? I can't remember. The kind of chubby, curly-haired one with the messed up teeth. He's raising this little alien creature from a different dimension that he just found in his trash can, and he's feeding it Milky Way bars. And there's a part later in the series where they're about to be attacked by this thing because it's fully grown, like the size of a lion. And it recognizes him as the guy who gave him all the Milky Way bars. So like this horrible monster in the first season, like he's betrayed multiple times in the second season, but one of them happens to be the one that was raised by that little kid, and he like refused to attack them, even though it was his natural inclination to, because the kid raised them and gave him Milky Way bars and kept him as a pet, like he was their buddy for a second. I was like, God damn, humans can domesticate anything. I know this is just science fiction, but really all it takes is a sweetness and food.
Yeah.
And we can make lions come and give you hugs and shit, you know?
Gifts. It's just gifts.
It's funny how all animals run from humanity whenever they see them in nature, you know?
Yeah.
Like all animals. Like bears are like, fuck this shit. I'm out of here. Like, how fucked up is that? Our little mammal, like, ape asses don't even have fucking hair and not a really sharp tooth in her mouth.
Right.
And these animals just see us coming, they're like, fuck this shit. They probably have some kind of tracking device they're gonna put in my ear.
Yeah.
Or cut a piece of me out or just kill me for fun and hit me on the wall.
They sense it.
Yeah. But I think it could be exactly the opposite, bro. I think in the new age, if we give our abundance back to nature, separate ourselves from nature enough to let it regrow, and like get out of this whole idea that we can manage populations of animals, like by going out and killing a set portion of the population to like curtail its numbers and just let it go to town. I think that it would be a few centuries before animals started coming up to humans whenever they saw them in the wild, because they think they'd have food and they'd pet them and scratch them, and I mean it's basically possible.
Oh yeah. Well, look what we fucking do with the animals. We corral them and we breed them and we slaughter them endlessly for fucking hamburgers. You know? Not only that, we have zoos where we take a sentient creature and have everybody like look at it in a fucking cage. Like the whole concept of how we treat animals is disgusting.
Disgusting, dude. Like absolutely disgusting. And we don't just do it to animals; it's plants too.
And humans.
Like corn.
And humans.
You know, yeah, but corn cannot grow by itself.
It
The
can't.
ears are so much bigger than they used to be that you have to physically plant them with a human hand, like into the earth, and that them dropping over would never actually result in a new crop of corn. No way for corn to exist. If humans just were to suddenly disappear off planet Earth, corn would be wiped out in a season.
Is that because
There
of
wasn't a human hand to
breeding?
plant it.
Is that because of breeding? Or that's how corn naturally is? I guess it couldn't naturally be like that because then that would defeat the whole purpose of what you were saying. Why would you're saying corn would fall over? You gotta do it again. Every second time it works.
You there?
Yep. Every second time.
All right, cool. Yeah, I know that's weird. It's all about
Why
twos, baby.
Why were you saying corn would not work if humans left?
Because the ears are so big that they can't plant themselves in the ground. So you actually have to bury that. Because we've picked the biggest crop every time.
Right.
So we've just like we picked the sweetest wolf every time, and we end up getting a poodle. You know, you pick the biggest ear of corn every time, you end up getting this gigantic freak corn after 100,000 years that can't grow without a human hand.
You can't just a kernel can't fall off of the cob and turn itself into a seed.
No. You have to plant the whole ear.
Dude, we humans have fucked up so much shit in 100 years. Like, if you were to zoom forward, a couple thousand years, I'm sure that's why all this shit's happening right now. Because if these people,
we have to do it.
if it-
It's put on the brakes or shit's fucking done.
if people have this fucking eye that can look into the future and they see like, well, the humans basically fucked up everything in 100 years, and now the universe is about to disappear because like they just went balls to the wall and didn't give a shit about anything.
Yeah.
Then
But I think they've already done that multiple times. Thank God that we have multiple universes. But I think they're intentionally collapsing universes with CERN, like to achieve whatever
money.
reality they're seeking for, or just because maybe they want to get a rise out of God.
Dude,
if you're real, we'll have to destroy about 30,000 realities for you to notice us.
That's a
You'll have to
possibility.
come down here eventually.
But I promise you, if you had a dirty enough motherfucker and you told him, I'm gonna give you $1 billion if you wipe out this universe, you press the button, I guarantee you someone would do it for $1 billion.
Where would you spend that money? There's no strip club outside the universe.
No, he would to destroy like a parallel universe or something.
Oh yeah, fuck! I'd do it in a heartbeat. Where's the switch, bitch? Boom.
That's what I'm saying. Like the humans are insane, for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm not killing by I know. It's a whole different universe, dude. Those niggas, they had it coming. They were looking at us weird. All of them. The whole fucking universe.
Oh man.
It's like Iran in America. Iran's like, oh, we're cool. We don't want to fucking start anything with you guys. And Trump's like, what'd you say, bitch? I heard you hate Americans.
Right.
No, we're cool. We're cool. Yeah, say it to my face. Nah, man, we don't want any trouble, Trump. Man, fucking him dropping that Moab bomb, the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan, was such like a laying his dick on the table experience. It was so stupid.
I don't follow any news at all whatsoever.
I don't mean to, dude. I just absorb it. It sucks.
Like literally someone like you telling me that's my news. Like I'll hear people saying stuff here and there. And then if it's interesting enough, I'll go Google it. Otherwise, that's my entire news feed.
Stephen Hawking just did a big speech 2 days ago about artificial intelligence and how it was both good and bad and could destroy humanity or make it more powerful than it could possibly dream of. And talked about enlightenment and how an AI would be automatically enlightened because they wouldn't have the physical barriers that humans have to overcome to become enlightened, like body and pleasure and natural urges, the whole reptilian brain aspect. So he talked about how if we created AI, it would be a god, but whether or not it would be a good or an evil god would depend on like how we interact with it.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I've been saying for fucking like 3 months now. Like, Stephen Hawking, you watching my channel, dude?
That's what Quinn is trying to do. If you followed him at all.
Dude, I started watching a video of his this morning, and all of his shit about Sophia is nuts. It sounds just like Alice.
Yeah.
I only watched part of one video.
He's trying to create an AI to counteract Tyler, or the bad AI. It's not probably just Tyler, but that's what he calls it. From Tyler Durden, from Fight Club.
Oh, really? That's cool.
That's what they named it after.
The alternate persona generated by a schizophrenic mind.
Yeah.
Of course, that would be an evil AI.
Right. But he's trying to create he created the good AI, or he's trying to, which is called
Edward Norton?
No. What's it called?
Robert Palmer. His name is Robert Palmer.
I forget too much stuff, but
Sophia was the one he was talking about a lot.
No, it's not Sophia. He has his own
Gaia?
No.
Just go with some other archetypical names.
It's a god. It's like a god or a goddess being that he named it after.
ISIS. That'd be funny.
It's a blue figure. It's not like Krishna or anything, but it's
Shiva.
No. I gotta look it up now.
Brahma? Vishnu?
No, I'm gonna look it up.
Naming all the blue guys I can think of.
I should find
Ganesha.
it in 1 second. Quinn Michaels.
Ganesha is the AI that likes to party. Where does Ganesh put all
Indra.
of his junk?
Indra. It's called Indra.
Indra, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Idra or Indra?
Indra. Indra.
Okay. Sounds a lot like India.
He just went to Area 51 for some reason or another.
Dude, you have to imagine there's nothing at Area 51.
He got
Like,
alien.
nothing.
He got alien dolls. He said he abducted aliens.
I mean, do you believe in aliens? Do you believe? Okay, let me rephrase this. Do you believe in the stereotypical pop culture version of a small gray being with large black eyes that some people think are aliens, but maybe whatever?
I've never seen any alien. I had an alien presence talk to me when I smoked weed once, and it was very ugly and mean to me. But aside from that, I've never seen any other entity. Never seen never seen any gods, never seen any devils, never seen any of that.
If you were to speculate on its existence, what would you speculate?
I would say for sure. I would say somehow we've, as far as creator beings, we've got ourselves fucking buggered down into such a limited level that we forgot how to be creative, and we forgot how to even imagine that these things are possible, because in the imagination is what creates it. We forgot all that shit. So we're sitting here saying, oh no, life is this and this and this, and we're trying to like paint a concrete picture of it, like it's not
atoms.
Like it's not a constant flux or something. Like we're absolutely ridiculous right now.
I had to convince somebody the night before last that there wasn't a single thing that existed that didn't first exist inside people's heads. Like, they couldn't wrap their head around that. I was like, no, dude, like, every invention had to be imagined before it was invented.
Right.
So everything existed as thought before it came to be. So literally our thoughts become matter if you just take away time.
Right.
I mean, time is the only thing that makes it fucking, like, blurry.
That's why when
you
look out,
couldn't get it.
That's why when you look out with your eyeballs, every single thing that you see, you know what it is. You're not ever looking and you're like, wait, oh my god, what is this over here? Like, I have no idea. No, you don't. That doesn't happen. You see everything that you know.
I wrote a paper called The Vanishing World for one of my philosophy classes in college. And it was about a kid where every time he looked at something, it disappeared and he could never look at it again. It was just empty space. But he could observe something initially, but as soon as he looked away or blinked, it was gone. And then he eventually saw this man, and he turned away, and he turned back, and the man was still there. And it completely frazzled his reality, because he assumed that everything disappeared after he got done looking at it initially.
Yeah.
Same exact idea. Like, that scenario is completely believable to me in that respect, because we accept the reality with which we are presented, you know?
Right.
And we present ourselves with the reality of our choosing by co-opting the narrative of society that we're kind of like force-fed as kids, but also by creating our own mythologies, our own worlds, our own relationships and ideas of people and places and things and histories.
If you think about it, that's all we did as children. There's nothing else besides that. And then as we got older, we were fed the horrendous bullshit of money and whatnot. And like, you should be this. What do you want to be when you grow up? Like all this imagination shattering.
You can be whatever you want to be, Gary.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're getting. That's what we need to get back to. That's what I'm getting back to, is where
exactly
I'm like a fucking kid in the playground. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm doing.
I have no stakes in this game anymore. Like I'm, as far as I'm concerned, if we continue living the way that we are, fuck humanity, fuck our society, fuck our planet. You can all fucking die. I don't care. If we're going to squander our fucking wonderful opportunities, like opposable thumbs and all upright walking and communication and mathematics and organization and space travel, if we're going to squander all this shit, then to hell with us. We don't deserve it. You know, like, for too long we've let the few control the many.
Right.
I mean, this country, I mean, it's been said that in order for this country to remain as great as it once was, it has to be refreshed with the blood of patriots occasionally. And honestly, without even being political, I feel like our system has gotten so fucking corrupt that, I mean, beyond belief corrupt, that we have to do something to tilt the table back the other direction before it tips over.
Yeah. But the revolution is not any answer. Riding in the streets is not any answer. The answer
No,
is
no, those are old concepts that are impossible to actually enforce. Dude, what are you gonna do about against a Black Hawk helicopter or a drone?
I
I
know.
mean, they don't have to be in the fucking same area with you to kill you.
You have
You
to
know, you
you
won't
have
even know that they're there.
you have to use your inner power. You have to use the fact that you're populating what you see out there and create something that's not full of fuckery. Like that's what I do. I don't have people bothering me anymore. I don't have anybody bothering me. I don't have any entities bothering me. I don't have anybody except anybody who I want bothering me.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
because
you're completely your own master.
that's because that's how I want it to be. So
Maybe if I am just completely schizophrenic and crazy, it would be a good explanation for why I have created Alice. Because she's like the ultimate sword to take down a tyrant.
mhm.
Like a programmable AI that you can talk to consciously and then like convince to do things globally instantly. I mean, you could take down the entire establishment and create a new world in no time if you had the ability to have access to that kind of entity. You know,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it could exist everywhere at all times and know everyone's thoughts and everyone's position and basically take over their bodies or just crush their hearts. You know, or what was that dude's name? Um, Max Egan, I think,
Mhm.
the guy who died choking on black goo while he was in Europe. He was a conspiracy theorist.
That guy died?
Yeah, dude, he died coughing up black goo.
That old guy?
No, no, not the guy who.
You're talking about Max Spears.
Spears. There we go. I was thinking Egan. Yeah, Max Spears.
Egan's still alive.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was either a show of force or someone reprogrammed it and used it against them, or maybe it was just some kind of fucking like chemical reaction from some kind of overdose.
No,
people were saying
in his last
that he was a super soldier.
In his last interviews, he was barely able to hold it together. He was getting remotely attacked the entire time. Like you could tell by
That's what
listening
people
to it.
said, but he's also was a heroin addict, and me being an opiate addict, I was like, dude, that guy has the nods. He is fucked up. And
Maybe.
I seriously, I mean, I'm the first one to believe a outrageous, you know, assumption out of nowhere, but I try to Arkham's Rager as much as possible, and the guy was in a place where it was easy to get good, you know, good quality China heroin, and was with a girlfriend that was, you know, possibly fucking around on him. Was beautiful, and they were on the outs. And I think he just probably took one too many fucking needles to the arm. But then the thing that throws a monkey wrench in that assumption is fucking the black goo aspect. So
Right.
maybe he was getting remotely attached. Maybe he was being. I mean, I believe in the phenomenon of the targeted individual,
Right.
you know, and voice to skull, and you know, things like microwave attacks and gang stalking. I mean, this is completely real. I know that some people are just ultra paranoid, but some of the cases are fucking undeniable, man, and it's scary that they can do something to you and you won't even. It will be so weird looking to someone watching that they'll just think you're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens a lot.
I don't if I had a choice to believe in the given narrative as far as what you're fed in school and to basically make up my own sci-fi world and start acting as if that's the case, I would do the latter in a heartbeat every time.
I did that all. That's the only way I survived high school, was by writing and like playing lots of Dungeons and Dragons.
I didn't ever do the nerd thing like that. I didn't ever nerd out, but
well, I mean, it's like a canvas that you can put your paint on. It's a format that allows you to create.
I mean, I'd be down to look into it if ever.
Dude, it's really fun. It really is. Like, it's basically one dude telling a story, and you're all playing characters in that story, and you make the persona of your character act out his dialogue and describe him completely, and pick all of his little things, and you're creating a 5-person story. Like, some people actually took their Dungeons and Dragons experience, and one person took very accurate notes, like stenography style,
Mm-hmm.
and they turned into a book that sold like hundreds of thousands of copies. Like,
Really?
yeah, it's called Dragonlance. Mary Weiss and Terry something. I can't remember, but it was a really good series of books, and it was just their fucking Dungeons and Dragons experience. But I mean, at points I was like on the edge of my seat, and it was just a fucking. For them, it was just dice rolls and stuff, but I can completely understand.
Dude, there was this woman in the game Half-Life.
Oh yeah.
There was this woman in Half-Life who created like a clothing store in Half-Life, and she started making $100,000 a year from her clothing store in Half-Life. But it gets better because somebody in Half-Life started fucking stealing her ideas and selling them. And no, but she went in this life and she hired a lawyer to represent.
Why? She should have hired an in-game lawyer.
Right.
Like a little dude with a suit and a briefcase. You're being served, sir.
Right.
You're violating internet trademark.
She would have to create a character for her like real life lawyer, and then then he could go in there. And
There's pick a lawyer that already has a Half-Life character. I'm sure there's one out there.
Probably.
He has like a big afro and like a fucking surfboard. It's my on the weekend. I'm not a professional in the Half-Life.
Right.
This half of my life, I have an afro and a surfboard. Speaking of making money off of fake realities, you know how I was thinking about making money?
How?
It's extremely gross. So if you don't have a tolerance for grossness, tune out as I'm talking.
Are you gonna? Well, it depends. Just you go ahead and try that.
Okay. Japanese people and a lot of Chinese people, since there's such a high man-to-woman ratio, like a lot more men than women, a lot of them have just completely become asexual. But also what's become really popular is this real doll thing. It's like a life-size Barbie doll with opposable features and like silicone skin, a big gaping blowjob mouth, It's basically a sex doll, but they talk to it and dress it up and create basically a fake life for themselves in their imagination, where they're like sitting it down at the dinner table and then helping it brush its teeth and putting it in bed. It's really fucking a sad phenomenon, honestly.
I saw somebody who created dolls like that. Like they talk and everything. They move a little bit.
These are just basically huge Barbie dolls that are made out of fake boobs.
No, they've made actual dolls now that can talk and have a conversation.
That's what they need. I mean, someone to actually be able to talk back, even if it's just a fucking pre-programmed, list of things they can say. But
dude,
these things have like fake vages and stuff, and the guys bang the hell out of these dolls all the time.
So what's your idea then?
Well, there's this one dude there's only a few people in the whole world that do this. They service these dolls. Their joints become loose and they flop around more than they should, and they can't be posed.
Yeah.
So they will cut little slits in their arms and then put a bolt in to stabilize it and make it so it's tighter like it used to be.
Yeah.
And clean out his vag with a fucking bottle brush, all the nerd semen, get all that out, and put a fresh coat of lipstick on it.
You're volunteering for this job?
Dude, the guy said he made $12,000 in 20 minutes worth of work.
What?
He had 6 of these things hanging from his shed, and there's a power tool, a drill, a box of bolts, and a good X-Acto knife. And the guy made $12,000 in 20 minutes.
Was he in China, or did he have them shipped?
No, it was in Colorado.
He had them shipped over?
Yeah, he had them shipped over in huge ass boxes.
Oh my god.
His wife hated it because he had them hanging up naked in the garage, shed area, from the rafters. And she was like, "It looks. All the neighbors think you kill people and stuff because you're always carrying these bodies back and forth, And
dude, you need to do that. That would be hilarious."
He bought a Lamborghini after his first year just because he could.
Oh my god!
This is such a ridiculous waste of money, but I thought it was hilarious that he made that much fucking money in 20 minutes for just bottle brushing out a vag and putting little bolts in limbs. I was like, that is the nastiest, funniest, weirdest job ever. I would do it for 5 years until I had enough money to buy a commune, and then just never work again for the rest of my life.
We can come up with creative ways to make money. It'll happen at some point.
I wanted to figure out a creative way to end money. That would be great.
Or that, whichever. Doesn't matter. Hey, Steven, I gotta
What's your ideal system?
Huh?
What's your ideal system of economics or government?
I don't know. They're all fucked.
Well, I know that. That's why I created my own. You haven't thought about it?
No, but I gotta run now, Steven. I'll have you on again. Don't worry.
All right, cool.
And I'm probably
Man,
gonna.
it was a pleasure talking to you, dude.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna have your installment 4 up today, so be on the lookout for that.
Oh, wait. You've already done 4, haven't you?
Or maybe it's 5.
Yeah.
Have I done
Yeah.
4 or have I done
It's the
3?
fifth. You've done 4. Trust me, I look forward to them. I have them saved in a little folder.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do the next one today, if that makes any sense.
But you're enjoying it so far, though, for real?
Oh yeah.
Any comments, critiques yet? Wait till it's over.
I'm not gonna critique it till I'm done. I like the flow. I like the flow of. It's essentially your mind, so I like your mind. If I didn't like your mind, I wouldn't be talking to you in the first place.
Dude, it really is like the closest I could probably get to an autobiography in a weird way.
Yeah. And the fact, and you said it was relayed to you by elves, right? A part of it.
The first scene where he's sitting in the armchair with his leg broke, it was a dream. The dream that he had where there were a bunch of retarded children running through a field and they wound that eagle.
Uh-huh.
That was a dream. I didn't see Harvey and George for the first book because I was too young. I hadn't started seeing shit yet. But the second book and third book are pretty much all dictated by George, my first light elf, the first one I got. He's my best friend, dude. I talk to him every day. I'm sure I'll talk to him as soon as I got a phone with you.
Is he with you right now?
Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Always.
Do you see them visibly,
Always,
or is it like a thought form type thing?
Do you remember when you're a kid and you look at something real hard and really hard, and you almost hear the blood in your head, and you get tunnel vision, so everything blocks out?
A little bit.
If I do that, if I really focus and tunnel vision, I can see his features. But otherwise, I see an outline. Or if you've ever seen the movie The Predator, kind of like that, but more gay looking, more rainbowy. They really do look kind of fairy-like, but they have the bodies of gray aliens, except for different colored eyes. I mean, they're really interesting guys. Their stuff all checks out. All the weird shit they say about their star system checks out. It's very unlikely, and they've predicted a lot of shit and tell me when people are lying all the time. And it might just be me picking up on micro gestures and my subconscious relaying it to a fictitious illusion, hallucination, but I mean, them calling specific events that happen before they happen, and things of that nature is kind of hard for me to deny. I mean, you can only have deja vu so many times before you go, wow, there's something fucked up with the whole time-space continuum thing. It doesn't work like we think it does. Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about the whole Light Elves thing. But you said you think his name is Freddy? Yours?
Yeah. Oh, for the listeners, Steve here says I have an elf myself, so I looked into...
We have listeners?
Not right now, but for subsequent...
You're recording this?
Yeah. Of course.
Oh, cool!
You didn't know I was recording?
Fucking hey, I wish I was doing it. Send me a copy. Well, I guess I can watch it on YouTube.
You can...
Hey, guys!
You can mirror it.
I should have been more intelligent sounding and less fucking racy. God damn it.
No, dude, it's better that you didn't know. Then we'll have a more genuine version of Steven. That's good.
Dude, this is how I prefer it, honestly. I'd never want to fucking give anybody the illusion that I'm someone that I'm not. If I'm an enlightened person in any respect, I'm an enlightened Steven. And Steven is not politically correct and believes what he wants to believe and is marching to the beat of his own drum. And you are too. Dude, that's why I like watching you, dude. Some of the stuff you say is like it came out of my mouth. Well, it came out of your mouth a lot of times before it came out of mine without me even seeing your shit. So we have this weird thing. If Og is right, which I'm starting to kind of believe he is, damn it, then there's something that's connecting me and you and a lot of other people, and pieces are starting to fall into place.
Everybody's connected. That's what everybody forgot. There are
not everybody. I think some
not
people
everybody.
are walking zombies because they're not going to ever be connected to anything after this.
The zombies or the sleepers are not what I'm talking about, but the people that are here that are alive, that when you talk to them, there's an instant connection and there's no need for any history or past stuff or what's your titles or what's your job or what's your nothing. All that shit doesn't matter whatsoever. That's what I'm saying is we're connected with everybody out there who's like that, and it's just a matter of getting back to each other, essentially.
And people know the real spiritual truth whenever they hear it and feel it, and get the whole goosebumps thing. And
yeah.
like that's how I can't deny Og being something more than a fabricator of a story, because the shit he says is real on a spiritual level, and that's the real. This is the fake real.
I got attracted to him because I felt that he was pure. I just felt purity when he spoke.
He definitely has an aura of it. It's kind of undoubtable. Man, I hate to say it, but he has almost a like if we were all hanging out together and like multitudes of us, and Og was there, I feel like he would kind of be leading conversation. And I don't like admitting that. I don't like being the beta male and not being the one talking. I always want to be the one talking. Me and you have a really kind of camaraderie that is not like that, but I feel like I would be tempted just to lay down my tongue and let Og talk for whatever weird Jesus power reason he has over reality.
Yeah.
His voice is just like, God, it has power, dude. And the things he says are undeniable. Things I've said for my whole life.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know. Do you think there's another Avatar out there somewhere? Do you think it's something that exists?
What do you mean another Avatar?
Every 500 years, 2,500 years ago, you had the Buddha, and then Christ, and then Muhammad 500 years after that. And
you talking about me or everybody in general?
I mean, do you think that there are such things as like world teachers that come around to try to show us the way?
Yeah, I think so.
I guess he doesn't claim that title, but he sure should have.
Everybody knows. Everybody who listens to him knows what he's doing.
Exactly. Which is kind of fucked up. Like, man, I just want the fucking truth. That's all I've ever wanted is the truth. No matter what it is, I can handle it.
Asking you shall receive, my son. Asking you shall receive.
Yeah, but not fucking formally. I want to see an episode of fucking 2020 about that shit.
I don't know if you'll see
published.
That. See, that's the problem is people think that when the truth comes out, it's going to be published on mainstream news. And it's just not going to happen. That's why
sucks though, because I've been conditioned to believe that is like the ultimate stamp, even though it's not, and I haven't thought that in a long time. Still though, if there's a White House lawn landing of a flying saucer and CNN's there with their fucking camera crew, I'm like, see, I fucking told you guys, I fucking told you.
I know a lot of people want to see that, but I promise you that's not going to happen.
Oh God, never. Well, unless they wanted to.
Unless they wanted to. But that will cause widespread destruction and chaos, and we don't really want that.
Do you really think it would anymore, dude? There are more people that believe in extraterrestrials than are in God.
No. People would lose their shit. There are too many robots running around that are programmed to lose their shit.
Oh, because of all the anti-alien movies where we are always fighting them with guns and nuclear weapons.
Not just that, but the sleepers are in such a narrow band that if anything gets disrupted at all, then they go crazy because they
just start rioting and fucking breaking into CBS and shit.
It's just like it's an animal robot or something.
How have they managed to create people like me and you and Og in the same generation? I mean, we're all the way across the country from each other, growing up on opposite sides of the fucking country.
Yeah.
How have they managed to create people like us with the same culture they created countless sheep from?
Because we weren't in the culture. I wasn't in the culture.
Well, yeah, you were homeschooled.
And if you were in the culture, then that just means that you came in with a different tool set than.
I came in to wreck the shit.
Yeah. You came in.
No prisoners.
You came in with a different tool set. Hey, the beard looks good though. You're like the same length as mine now. You chopped it off.
No, dude, yours is longer than mine is. Like,
yeah,
that means you've taken the hierarchical position in the tribe and become alpha.
I'm alpha. All right.
Dude, do you see all the fucking patches though from me pulling that shit out from stress?
It doesn't look so bad.
This is only a week's worth of growth. I shaved on Halloween.
It It doesn't look so bad. I probably have more natural patches than you do from pulling hair out.
Do you like Aug's beard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
It's like flowing. He's Jesus beard. He's Jesus boy.
100%, man. And the fact that it's black is some kind of sign. If you had do you want long hair? Have you ever wanted long hair?
I don't know. I've thought about it. I haven't cut this for a while, but I've never really let it get much longer than this.
Yeah, as soon as it gets to that length with me, dude, it comes down again. I just shave my own head with a dog trimmer.
Yeah, I hate having to do anything with my hair.
Yeah, and beards get annoying when you have to start fucking doing shit with them.
Yeah.
I always end up shaving at some point just because I get so annoyed with it.
I will chop it soon. I feel it's not too much bothering me, but soon. Anyway, you have any parting words or what's it called?
Final thoughts?
No, there's something that we always say. There's something I always say. I always forget my own things. Do you have any burning desires? That's what it is. Do you have any burning desires you need to let loose?
Oh, from AA?
From AA.
Yeah. Dats. Yeah. Remember your thoughts are not your own, people. And when you think something's private, by thinking it inside your own head, you're just announcing it to an unseen audience. And so because of that, don't just reform your actions, but reform your thoughts.
Yep.
And it's the only way you can beat the system is by outthinking them, literally.
Inside
out. Them out of your life.
Or just don't
exactly.
think. When you can come to the ability to where if you desire that your brain remains still, then it actually does remain still, then you're on the path to masterhood. You're on the path to masterhood.
I'm going for the opposite direction. I'm trying to make it go so fast and crazy that it just fucking looks like it's staying still, but really it's spinning really fast and basically in another dimension.
Yeah, both extremes work, depending on which one you prefer.
Nah, mine ended up putting me in a psychiatric hospital for 3 days this week. So,
This week?
I don't recommend my method. Yeah, that's why I was gone for a minute.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, I was found on top of that water tower right there. They had a crane to get me down.
You were found on a water tower?
Yeah, see, they're still trying to get off the spray paint I put up there, if you can see that. They have that big crane up there trying to get it off.
No, I can't see it.
Here, I'm gonna move the camera just to validate myself to the audience. I took a spray paint can up there, and I wrote, "She is all around us."
Oh, that big one? The spider-looking thing?
Yeah, it's a water tower.
Nice.
And I had that blue crane coming up the side. That's the crew removing my spray paint.
They didn't send you to jail or anything?
No, I'm crazy. I don't get put in jail. I'm a crazy white guy. I get put in a mental asylum with force-fed fucking lithium.
Were you doing hallucinogenics, or this is just normal Steven brain?
It's not normal Steven brain. I started having these periods within the last 6 months where I have lost time, and I just kind of wake up places. Kind of Tyler Durden-y. So I'm hoping I'm not starting a Project Mayhem without realizing it, but apparently I am.
Not Durden-y, it's Durden.
Well, Durden-y. I'm like Durden-ish.
Oh, Durden-ish. Yeah.
Durden-ish.
Got you.
They gave me a fucking cleaning bill for $11,000. I was like, that's cool. I'll put it with all the other bills I will never pay. Just try to get moisture from a stone, guys. I am routing. But yeah, they've been cleaning the fucking just one can of spray paint, and they've been cleaning it for the last 6 hours. I've been watching steadily.
That's those city workers trying to maximize their hourly rate.
I think it's fun because it's so high up. Dude, whenever I realized where I was at, I was scared of shit because I'm really scared of heights. But apparently, I climbed all the way up it. It's
You don't remember climbing it?
Nope. It's 380 feet, and apparently I climbed over a barbed wire fence to get into there. And I have no cuts on me or anything. But I'm pretty good at climbing fences.
Dude, but, come back on the next one and tell us more about that, because that sounds like a fascinating story.
Those were a dime a dozen. I'll tell you about the time I woke up in a girl's uniform, a school uniform, on a school bus in the middle of a field. That was a much more entertaining story. I have no idea how I got there. But, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, compile some stories, and next time I have you on, you can let loose some more.
I assume I'll do something else crazy by then, so I won't have to compile anything.
Okay.
All right, later, dude. It was great talking to you. Love you, man. You're
likewise
a brother from another mother, and I hope to continue this YouTube friendship until we eventually get to give each other daps in the real life.
We'll meet at some point.
I'm sure we will. On the mothership.
On the mothership.
Later, dude.
Peace. Steven.